Hi everybody, this is Megan from Holistic Care Medicine. I'm here today because I wanted to share with you some benefits and success tips and things I've learned in regards to intermittent fasting. So I had a patient that came in a couple of days ago and he's interested in losing weight. And he has all the tools and all the knowledge, and he had done another type of diet that worked for him. The problem is with any kind of dieting is that if it's not a lifestyle change, it's not going to be helpful. You might lose the weight here and there, you might be successful for a couple weeks, but then when you go back to your regular life, it changes. So with intermittent fasting, I found that it was a lifestyle change for me, and it really, really helped. So before I get into what I wanted to share, I am a licensed acupuncturist, so if you're interested in intermittent fasting, please make sure you talk to your Western doctor, your medical doctor, your primary care physician, or your dietitian, anybody that's helping you in regards to that. For those who are healthy or feel that they're interested in doing it and are able to, you're the one I'm really speaking with. And for the other people, it's for you to have the information to share with your doctors, or for you to look into before you make a decision. So that being said, I looked into intermittent fasting to lose weight and to help with my blood pressure, and to help with my blood sugar. So diabetes runs in my family, hypertension runs in my family, and with a busy practice, life is hard. And with taking care of family and all that, it's hard. So you have to figure out how to take care of yourself as well as everybody else. And so I found that having researched and listened to practitioners as well as dietitians in regards to intermittent fasting, rather than for being to help for a workout routine, because that's another thing I need to get into, is exercising a little bit more often. So I wanted to see how I can change my life and how it can become a part of my life. So the benefit for me was to help me lose weight, reduce high blood sugar, and to help regulate hormones as I'm getting to that age where things are shifting. What I have learned is that the goal for intermittent fasting is 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. So if you keep that in mind, then it makes it easier to say, okay, you have a goal. The goal isn't to eat 1,200 calories or 3,000 calories if you're on the other end of the spectrum, or to calorie count. I'm not a calorie counter. I love food. So being able to eat what I want in a time frame made it easy for me, and that's how I changed my mindset in regards to it. Like, I can eat what I want in moderation, and I can eat. So I didn't have to feel like I was depriving myself. I didn't have to feel restricted on anything. So what I started researching is what foods would hold my fast, knowing I wasn't going to jump in and fast for 16 hours. What foods would hold it if I wanted to extend my time? So it's important to know that any type of herbal tea is okay as long as it doesn't have sugar or milk. Black coffee is okay as long as it does not have sugar and milk, and of course water. And water, you can add some lemon juice or squirt something citrusy to aid in the digestion, to help extend your fasting time. Anything with sugar, anything with cream, anything with carbs will break your fast. So those are not the things you want to do while you're trying to hold your fast or extend it. What to eat during eating hours. So one of the things I realized is healthy fats was very good for you in regards to intermittent fasting and the keto diet. So I started looking up meals in the keto diet that would be doable in my intermittent fasting time of eating. Okay, so that was important. And because I don't count calories, then most of us already know leafy green vegetables, fruits, nuts, fish, all of those things are great. And the thing with intermittent fasting is that you can eat small portions for those 8 hours or for those 12 hours that you're eating. And I'll get into the time in a minute. But that was really important for me to understand that I can eat, the things that are good for me, and then started educating about how much I was going to eat. I wasn't going to eat like a can of nuts. I would take the snack baggie and pack some of those. Cut up celery, because I'm not going to eat a whole thing of celery, but maybe a couple stalks and cut them up. That would be good with peanut butter for sure. One of the things I found that was really interesting in the video was that when you break your fast, to break it with a protein and not a carb. So in the morning, I'll have an egg, or I'll have a little thing of peanut butter, because the way the body works is that with the carb and it goes into the cellular level, it actually doesn't help your metabolism as fast, and it doesn't help burn as fast. Your body actually retains some things. But when you start with a protein, I'll try to link the video on the end of this, but when you start with a protein, it doesn't go into the cell. It actually just starts your metabolism, which is actually good, and it gets it revved up. So when you do incorporate the carb, then your body's already moving, and it's easier to burn that sugar off. How to succeed. So one of the things I realized, you have to really plan. Planning meaning the goal is to only eat for 8 hours and to fast for 16. So you want most of your 16 hours to be sleep time. So everybody's schedule is different. So somebody could be fasting, through the day, because that's when they're sleeping because they work at night, and some people can fast during the night because they have to work during the day. So for me, typically my ending hour to eat in the beginning was 8 or 9, because I had a long day, and around that time is when I was settling down. Okay, I still had a couple more hours before I went to bed. So at 8 or 9, I can have a cup of herbal tea, a glass of water, something like that. No coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker that late at night. So then I was done eating at 8, and I was fasting till 8 the next morning. And that's how I started my first 3 weeks, was I did 12 and 12. Because I knew I could eat for 12 hours. I wasn't worried about the fasting time. So as I got comfortable with eating in the 12 hours, I had to figure out other things. I couldn't eat a big meal in one sitting, because I was working in those mostly 10 to 12 hours. I was working 9 or 10 hours. So I did smaller meals, smaller portions, and more of snacky things, but that were healthy, like an avocado, hard-boiled egg, a bag of cashews, or I cut up a cucumber, those things, and eat them throughout the 12 hours. So I was never really hungry, and I wasn't picking on something I shouldn't be eating. I hope that helps. And then what happened was, after about the 3rd week, I found that I wasn't getting as hungry as fast in the morning. When I knew I was, it's 8 o'clock, I can break my fast with a cup of coffee. I wasn't as hungry, so I started drinking that water in the mornings, because I wanted to extend my fasting time. So rather than eating at 8, I was eating at 10, which actually gave me 14 hours of fasting. So I hope you see how that worked. I extended it too, so now I'm fasting for 13 or 14 hours, and then that lasted for a few more weeks until I could extend it a little bit longer, and then I was eating at 12 or 1 o'clock, and then it just shortened my 8 hours to eating. And I could hold a 16-hour fasting for maybe a few days, and then I needed to go back to maybe fasting for 14 or 12. So depending on my life. So it was okay to fluctuate. I saw I don't get on the scale either. I go by my clothes, the size of my clothes. So, and how I feel in them, because for most of us, the water just goes up and down. So some days you feel bloated, some days you don't, some days you feel bigger, some days you wear something that made you feel really nice and thin a week ago, and then it's a week before your cycle, and you're like, I can't get into them. So I don't get on the scale. I go by my clothes and that time of the month. So what was I saying? So definitely check to make sure that you take an account of how you're feeling for when you're doing your eating. So if the goal for sure is to fast for 16 and you get there and you can sustain it for a week, fantastic. I don't think that's a lifestyle that you should do, based on it not being totally healthy for a lot of people, especially if you're sick. There was another video I saw. They said if you get sick, get off of it. Definitely take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to get better. And then as you start feeling better, you can get back onto the intermittent fasting and start back at that 12 to 12 ratio as you work up to your 16. And right now it's been almost a year I've been doing it. And like I said, I can fast for 12 hours with no problem. So I do that regularly. And then, when I'm feeling like, okay, let me extend it, I'll extend it for 14. And, here and there, I'm doing 16 hours of fasting and not realizing it. So I'm okay with it. And I feel good. I feel like my blood sugar has regulated. I haven't done testings for that yet, but I could feel a difference. How do I know I lost weight? Well, I'm not going to share my numbers, but the size of clothing I was wearing a year ago does not fit and feel the same way this year. So I know that I can go shopping and buy a lesser size. So that's how I know. I think that's it. Oh, so how to succeed was to look at your daily life, find out your sleep and wake schedule, find out when you kind of pay attention of when you eat, when you get hungry. This is before you even start the fasting, so you can have a game plan to pick your time. My recommendation is start off with 12 hours of fasting, 12 hours of eating, and then increase your fasting time as your stomach shrinks, as you get comfortable, as you're able to sustain, that fasting. Also, find out foods you like. If you know that you only like certain vegetables, don't go to the grocery store and buy all these other things because you feel like you're going to eat it all of a sudden. No, you're not. So try to incorporate what you're eating now to have more of a balanced meal. So you already know leafy green vegetables. You already know vegetables are good for you. You already know fruits are good for you. So if you're diabetic, I wouldn't recommend getting stuff that is high in sugar because you already know that. Like oranges, stay away from them. If you crave, and this other thing is no guilt. So say you're fasting and you want some ice cream, or there's a party and you want a piece of cake, you can have a slice of cake. You just can't have half the cake or a quarter of the cake, but have a little bit, because then if you start telling yourself like you're not depriving, you're having a little bit, it's about self-control. I don't like willpower, but it's about self-control. If you have self-control, you can do so much. So if you have a little bit of ice cream, it's different than a bowl of ice cream. And then you don't feel guilty about it, you don't feel mad about it, you're not feeling frustrated. And maybe through the process of learning, of like researching and learning and kind of getting into feeling about how you're able to do it for yourself, things about yourself will come up that maybe you need to address, that there's a reason why you're not able to sustain something for a period of time, or there's frustrations that you'll meet that you gotta address, and that's just part of life. When I treat patients, it's mind, body, spirit. And if your mind isn't healthy, then if your body isn't healthy, your mind isn't healthy, your spirit sure isn't healthy. So, incorporating the idea of mind, body, spirit and doing that research will really get you to see, where do you struggle? Are you not sleeping regular hours because it's sporadic? And that plays a part in your weight. Are you, the foods that you eat, do you find you're eating a whole lot more carbs and than protein and vegetables? And in this kind of diet, or the keto kind of diet, it's vegetables and protein that are better for you. I'm not saying no carbs, it's just a little bit. So I hope all of this helps, and for sure, definitely reach out to your medical provider if you're interested in doing the intermittent fasting. I'm happy to answer questions and share with you with what I've learned. So definitely there's a lot of YouTube channels. You'll know who the experts are. If you're really interested, you'll be able to make your own sound decisions. There's some TED Talks about intermittent fasting I found very helpful. I googled a lot of what to eat on the intermittent fasting and keto diets to get some ideas for sure, and then just have a game plan. Start small, 12 hours fasting, 12 hours eating, and then extend your fasting time until you get to the goal, and then maintain it for a few days, and then go back to 14 hours, and then kind of go back. That's not bad. And watch what you're eating. You're the best doctor for yourself. So I hope this helps, and thank you for your time. Again, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and Reiki master. So if you're definitely interested in this, talk to your medical care provider, and feel free to reach out. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.